From Lies to Law, the evolution of an FWC felony. In 2003, Ted Forsgren and the CCA requested the FWC increase penalties for violations of net laws. The CCA proposal would create a felony out of possessing, transporting, or using a net greater than 1,000 square feet in state waters. In addition, thousands of dollars in civil fines were to be stacked in excess of fines charged by the courts, unknown to the judges. Beholden to the CCA, the FWC usually did whatever the CCA desired. This time would be no different. FWC staff were directed to work with the CCA and commercial fishermen to develop a proposal that was mutually agreeable. Meetings were held in June, September, and November of 2003. At the end of the final meeting, 3 proposals were presented. Proposal number 1. Fishermen voted 10-1 to tie the CCA proposal to the following proposal so that fishermen would have a choice whether or not to break the law in order to catch fish. 2 500 square foot nets made of 370.093 2B approved material with no mesh size restriction to be connected by lead and float lines but no mesh connection. The proposed net would stop the unnecessary killing and waste caused by the FWC net, comply with the sole purpose of Article 10, Section 16, and comply with Florida Statute 370.093 2B. The lone dissenting vote came from Ted Forsgren of the CCA. Proposal number 2. The CCA wanted their proposed rules enforced without any concessions. Only one of the 11 attendees wanted the CCA proposal by itself. Guess who? Good guess. Proposal number 3. Since FWC Commander Colonel Julie Jones informed the group that there was no smoking gun pointing to the rampant illegal netting that the CCA claimed, the group also voted 10-1 for a change in the net without the CCA's proposal. Once again, 2 500 square foot nets made of 370.093 2B approved material with no mesh size restriction to be connected by lead and float lines but no mesh connection. But as agreed on in Proposal 1, fishermen were willing to concede to stiffer penalties in exchange for reasonable net rules. By now, you know the only dissenter. These 3 meetings, just like every FWC meeting we've attended in the last 9 years, were held in bad faith, without any FWC intention of accepting a mutual agreement. FWC staff told the legislature that we supported increased fines and penalties, and told Representative Kendrick, committee chair, that they would fix the net problem. The CCA proposal was signed into law, and the fishermen, as always, were shafted. The FWC lied about fixing the net problem. Representative Kendrick chastised the commission for lying to him. Only one FWC official ever had enough integrity to apologize.
We got off on a really bad footing with the first set of meetings that we had, that Jackie Falls called, and the voting. There's you notice this is your technical group. First of all, I think you see that this is only commercial fishers. First of all. So this is not a matter of voting or doing anything like that. I apologize for what happened in those first few meetings because it was misleading because it seemed like you were going to get a product out of it, and obviously you didn't get that product out of it. But having said all of that, the second place where we have failed you is in trying to accommodate the legal requirements pushed to us from several states' attorneys to put into rule how to measure a net and do some of those things. When we took up the gear rule, we told you at every turn that 2-inch stretch mesh was not a part of that consideration. We were taking that part of the rule and putting it in not making changes. And I really wanted to push that decision-making to the Commission and not be a part of that gear rule. And, of course, the train jumped the track there, and it just seemed like we were ignoring you at every turn. So my apologies. We've obviously gotten off on the wrong foot, and let's hope that this group, that does not happen again.
But it happened again. Little did we know the FWC's bad faith and lying would be far worse this time. In fact, here's a network group prophecy from FFF member Keith Ward before the FWC lied again.
We did 12 to 1 when we did this felony thing, and it imposed, and it went, the one got the felony and we got the shaft.
Well, that never should have been a vote. I mean, that was just...
And that's what I'm asking. We're trying to work with y'all. We're trying to work with y'all in good faith. We're trying to get back and work. And if we get stuck again, how many times can you be, pardon my expression, bent over the table before you just get tired of it and just can't take no more?
Right.
Anyway, after 2 meetings, the FWC and commercial fishermen agreed to test 2 nets. The FWC informed us that the test would be conducted as soon as possible.
My commitment to you is to get it done as quickly as possible, but I can't put the rule on that.
In 1997, the FWC's net expert, Mr. Brent Winter, testified for the FMRI that the 2-inch mesh nets would only have 5% bycatch rates. Mr. Winter's testimony resulted in the judge believing him and passing the 2-inch mesh rule. With net tests upcoming, Mr. Winter's opinion changed a bit.
To sell to the Commission, we may not need a detailed study to show you guys have fished these 2-inch nets forever. And believe me, everyone knows and has heard a million times over how it's getting smaller fish. And with the way that they're designed, no one can argue that.
Great. Mr. Winter is only 8 years too late with the facts. The first DCA Chief Judge, Edwin Browning Jr., forces the FWC attorney to reveal the joint net test results.
Does the 2-inch net gill or capture, I'm not a fisherman, 90% of illegal fish? When they ran those tests,
when they ran the tests,
what happened?
I don't know the exact numbers, Your Honor, but that doesn't sound out of line. 90% of the fish that were gilled.
That's what Mr. Maurer just
said.
I'm
not questioning his that. I mean, 90% of the fish that were gilled were juvenile.
We're trying to work with y'all. We're trying to work with y'all in good faith. We're trying to get back and work. And if we get stuck again, how many times can you be, pardon my expression, bent over the table before you just get tired of it and just can't take no more?
Right.
In good faith, during the net meetings, Ronald Crum made sure the FWC knew we would file an injunction after the state tests were completed, because of the 2-inch mesh rule being applied to every net after July 1st, 2003. And here's why.
How do we keep our retail markets in business from July to January? How does the fishermen survive from July to January? Food stamps? Or what do we do?
The staff had no answer.
What I would like to ask you, Colonel, is this. Don't be offended if I file an injunction. Because it's only for doing this. I
would not be offended.
Because I want the study, the injunction will only entail what's found out in the study.
Right.
As I understand, your client agreed with the appellant to go out and test these nets, and when the results appeared to be adverse to your client's position, then the tests were terminated. Is that a...
That is not, absolutely not what happened, Your Honor.
Another FWC lie. The judge was right. That is exactly what happened.
How many times can you be, pardon my expression, bent over the table before you just get tired of it and just can't take no more?
Right.
Where is your justice, honor, and integrity, FWC?
Well, let me ask you this, Counselor. Can your commission just do anything and we have no supervision over it, even if it's totally unreasonable?
If the agency presents a rational basis for the rule on the record, then that's all they have to do.
For more information, visit http://fishingforfreedom.net. Thank you.